You did that 5 minutes in instead of
Yeah.
instead of at 10. All right. Now I'm recording.
Awesome.
I'm gonna rewatch that real quick.
Well, I was trying to like hit one like so like quick scope by Lucio and then sleep dart the Lucio, but both missed.
hmm. So again, another issue of like we're looking to heal our Genji even though he's full health,
Yeah.
and then when we should be looking at our
Sigma.
Lucio,
Oh,
who's one in there.
okay. Yeah.
So like target priority can need some work. Make sure that you're focusing on the people who are low and not the people that are full.
Is that part of like the tunnel visioning I have? So like it's like in a messy team fight, like how sometimes I just can't find the right target. Like do you know what I mean? Like it's a
Oh,
messy team fight.
like
Mhm.
awareness is lacking. Um,
Yeah.
so tunnel visioning, basically, if you're having problems with that, it's a very simple concept, awareness, but it's not very easy. So that's
Mm.
just gonna be not staring at your crosshair, um, using your eyes and your ears, and that means so look around you.
Mm-hmm.
Use your mouse to look around as well as like your eyes on your screen. You don't always want to stare at your crosshair. Look at your abilities, look at your ammo, look at your health, look at the kill feed. Come on, I didn't do that. But basically, like you always want to be taking in information by looking around. And if
Okay.
you're just staring at your crosshair or staring at one person, that's another thing. Is like you don't want to continuously be tunnel visioning on one target. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
tunnel visioning on healing your Genji, then that disables you from healing anyone else on your team. So make sure that you're like I mean like it'll take practice, but the focus should be to not be continuously looking and focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
My ultimate is almost ready.
One other thing is this is pretty niche, but in general, jumping isn't a good habit to have.
Oh, so that's not a good habit.
No, so there's a few different reasons. The first
Mm-hmm.
reason is it makes enemy shots easier to hit on you.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
especially as you get higher and higher, like hit scan players, so like Widowmakers, they will be able to very easily track headshots. Because it's an animation. So when you're jumping, you don't
Yeah.
have much control
It's a
over where you're
trajectory.
moving.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Mm-hmm.
makes it easy for them to hit you. It also makes
Mm-hmm.
it harder for you to hit your shots. So because you're bobbing up and down, that means that you have to adjust your crosshair. So overall, you're
Mm.
putting more strain on your basically you're giving your mind a lot of unnecessary things to be focusing on, and it'll
Yeah.
make your
I see. I
aim
see.
worse. And then the third reason is you don't have as much control over your movement. If you jump around a corner, you can't stop yourself until you're already around the corner. Whereas if you just peek the corner, then you can walk back easily.
Okay.
So you have less control over your movements as well. So
Okay.
jump it unless you're jumping to get on top of things, around things, that type of deal. Jumping as like just while you're walking around shouldn't be something you're doing.
So the better way will be just AD
Yep,
all the
and
way.
then crouching as well. Is if you're looking to be inconsistent, you AD and crouch.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Because I've been had this like jumping for like a long time. No matter what hero I play, like it's just like jump all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Watching your back.
I was trying to farm the blade
Get
actually.
in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're trying to what?
I try to farm the nano because I saw the win condition is the nano blade and then because I don't see like any other like main combo like in my team.
Watching your back.
Yep.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Uh,
Alright, so
yeah.
let's rewind here. Okay, so first off,
Mm-hmm.
when we shouldn't basically you shouldn't be looking down when you're walking around. You should always be looking kind of at, as Ana, you don't have to be looking at head level. With other heroes, I'd recommend always looking at head level, but you
Mhm.
should always be looking at body level, never at the ground, because that'll make your shots easier to actually wait. So they're moving while they're paused. That's weird. Sorry, I got sidetracked. If you're looking at the ground, then it's gonna be harder for you to adjust up to him, which is what you're gonna see in a moment.
Yeah.
Whereas if you always are consistently looking at the same level, and then adjusting from there and going back to kind of a neutral level, then it's gonna make it easier for you to hit your shots. But we're gonna see in a
Yeah.
moment.
Watching your back.
We walk in
You're
here,
powered up. Get in there.
and then we look at the ground,
Mhm.
and then now our Doomfist needs healing, so we're looking at the ground, and then it makes it hard, and then he jumps. So we're missing shots because we don't have proper crosshair placement.
Placement.
Yep.
Okay.
So we need to be putting our crosshair in the most optimal spot, so
All
that
the time.
yes, so that it's making our shots easier to hit. Like basically, you want to make your job as easy as possible to land shots, and by doing that, you place your crosshair where people are most likely to be. So that can be doorways. That's going to be body level, so you don't have to adjust. It also gives you more visibility if you're aiming body level. If you're looking at the ground, then you don't have visibility up to high grounds, and you're gonna have less awareness.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's a yeah.
Take your medicine.
100% correct.
I'm on fire.
So in any messy
Out of my
team
way.
fight, like I find it hard to like priority the targets. So like when I have like let's say 3 enemies and like five teammates on my screen, like it's just
Overwhelming.
basically yeah, it's overwhelming. Just basically hit anyone like I am like
You don't know what to focus on.
yeah.
Alright, so the only time you should be damaging is if either your whole team's full health, so there's no one to heal, and you're
Mm.
looking for damage to get in, or someone's low and you can kind of chip at them to finish them off, and then that
Mhm.
way you kind of assist your team in damage. But otherwise, damage shouldn't be your primary focus. So that at least narrows down your focus to, okay, I should primarily be looking to help my team. Like I said before, number one focus in fights is how am I going to land my abilities, and then besides that, like abilities and positioning are going to be like your biggest kind of assets. Like you need to think about those the most, and your aim should kind of be a second priority. So like you're hitting heal shots, that should be kind of like second nature and not something that you're focusing on. So you kind of
Okay.
want to focus on landing those, because if you're hitting nades and sleeps consistently, then you're carrying team fights. If it's a scrappy fight, your priority should be people who are are low health. And if no one's on your team slow and no one on their team slow, and you don't have abilities, like kind of you're just looking for something to do, you should always be looking at the person who you believe is going to be taking damage. So, for example, that's called kind of you're kind of pre-aiming at them. So you're if you know that your Doomfist is punching in soon, then you look to heal the Doomfist because you know he's about to take damage. If you know that your ball's slamming in, you know the ball's about to take damage. If you're running like a Reinhardt, then you know Reinhardt's about to swing, so he's about to take a lot of damage. So you want to be pre-aiming at the targets who you know will be taking the most damage. You don't need to be pre-aiming at your Lucio, because most likely your Lucio's not going to be taking a whole lot of damage, and he can heal himself. So you kind of, and same with Sigma, like you don't want to be pre-aiming at Sigma because most of the time he's not going to be in dangerous situations that he needs healing from. So it's all about kind of target priority of who is going to need the most healing in this fight,
Makes sense.
most likely.
Yep.
And then of course there's always variability, so you just adjust from there.
Okay.
Go. I can
Hey
be
there.
here.
Know that.
Oh, time to accelerate.
Hello.
Objective
I need to stop jumping. Like that's such a bad habit.
Defense point. Objective B.
Yeah, time to heal up.
So in this case, like Sigma goes left and then other teammates goes right. And so I decided to follow Sigma because I don't think there's any other hero to support him. But then like in that case, because okay, my original thought was okay, if a team fight happens slower, I can probably take high ground, like in the at the elevator.
Yep.
But then Sigma already goes in, and then three teammates already goes to the right.
Yeah,
Like,
so
yeah.
we're gonna rewind like 20 seconds. So that's a little too far, but we'll see in a moment. So when you walk up,
Oh, down to accelerate.
Hello.
I am pretty sure that the elevator was already down, if I saw that correctly.
Get back in
Or
the
maybe
fight.
not, but anyways, like, you can wait. It's not that long. You're wasting like 5 seconds, and in that amount of time, your Sigma's probably not gonna die. He has his own shield. Oh no, yeah. So it was up, but in that amount of time, because that's the best positioning. Because realistically, your
Yeah.
team's here. Like half of your team's here, half of the team's over there. On high ground, you can heal both of those and be safe at the same time. So high ground is going to be the best position here to be taking.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. So even though like, so I can just let Sigma to take a little bit damage, and then I just take a
Yeah.
high ground.
And then
Okay.
you can just heal them up when you turn the corner. But just like, basically while you're going high ground, you're like, since you know that you're going to be out of the fight for a little bit, you should be
Mhm.
thinking about, what am I going to do as soon as I get into the fight? Who am I healing? Who's low?
Healing you now.
Okay.
Oh, let's play it.
That melody.
Sorry, I'm gonna refine a little bit.
Yep.
Okay.
I have your back.
Down to accelerate. Loving this.
Walk it off. Get back in the fight.
Observe the barrier.
Should I try to heal Lucio instead of like?
Should you
No.
try to? What, Lucia?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Should try to damage the other Lucio like in this.
Alright, so
Mhm.
if you have the opportunity to put damage in, you put the damage in. But if people are low, then you don't put damage in. Right here, everyone on you, if you look top right, everyone on your team's full health. This is a scenario where you can take the time to put damage in. You also have sleep available, and you're coming up on nade. This is where you should be looking for abilities. And nano, you have nano. You have blade. You should be looking for nano blade here,
Yeah.
as well as to
Genji's
put
on the
damage
left,
in.
right?
Yeah, so like if we're looking at our health again, or like at everyone's health, everyone is fine. We have sleep and nade and nano. That's what our focus should be on, like not healing. When everyone's full, there should be no focus on healing. Realistically, like you can heal while your focus is on the other abilities.
Yeah.
But then I think here we're looking for healing on the Genji, and again there we're tunnel visioning, so we're not paying attention to the Doomfist who slams into us. So we die with nano, we die with sleep, and we die with nade while people are low. Whereas if we don't run blindly at the Genji,
Get back in
like,
the
because
fight.
realistically, what does running at the Genji gain us? Because as soon as he turns that corner, we can see him from any distance. Like, we don't get to him any faster if we're running at him.
Yeah.
So by us walking forward, we did nothing but die. So you kind of want to, in the future, you don't want to do that. And when you had examples like this, so when you die in game, 75% of the time, you can look at that death and go, okay, what did I do wrong? Was I standing in the wrong spot?
Yeah.
Did I use my abilities wrong? In this case, you're standing in the wrong spot, and you tunnel vision, and you didn't use your abilities.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a way that you can self-improve, even like when we're not coaching. So like you can look at yourself and coach yourself by, okay, I died. Why did I die? If you don't die here, then this fight is most likely won. But I'm gonna assume that something goes wrong and you start to lose this. Yeah, they got 2 picks. So because you died there, because you tunnel visioned,
Yeah.
both you and Genji die. Whereas if you played safe, then neither of you died.
Yeah. Makes sense. So I should always like try like so I shouldn't basically try to like follow anyone just to heal them, right? Is it?
No, probably not, because you're kind of. That's different if you're playing like Moira or something like that. But since you're Ana, you can heal from any range, so getting close to them doesn't matter.
Doesn't help. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, they have to come to you,
Mhm.
or else you're putting yourself in bad scenarios,
Mhm.
where they can very easily kill you.
Okay, so in the
All
previous team
soldiers
fight,
are
in the team
right.
fight that just happened, where should I like in that case? Should I just sit at the same spot like
So-
I was?
Right, you start walking forward, but right here is
back in the fight.
fine. Maybe like because this is fine. If anyone comes on you, you have sleep. Your team can help you. You're fine here. But because you don't pay attention to anything, because basically if you're in the back here, you have a full view of the entire team fight. You can see
True.
everything that's happening. So if anyone comes on you, you know. But because you tunnel vision, then you stared at one area while walking forward. That allowed the Doomfist to come in and punch you. So also standing right here, this allows if the Doom does punch at you.
There's a wall.
Yeah, there's no wall next to you unless he fully charges you and you launch all the way back into the wall. So you're less with this positioning, you're less likely to get punched, but you walk in front of a wall. If you're paying attention to this team fight, then you have sleep and you have nade that both can go onto the Doomfist to stop him.
Yeah,
No chance.
yeah, definitely. Yep.
So basically staying in the same spot, and then like I said before, like high ground would probably be even better in this scenario, but this is fine. Where we were at since it already happened.
Yep.
Alright, so we're losing this fight. Now, do you like to communicate with your team?
I do call for targets. I do call for whoever low and also whoever I slept or whoever is attacking me. I would just basically say, oh, Tracer behind, helping Ana. So like that's usually what I like. I don't really call out any like outs or anything, but it's more like call out the low targets and whoever is hitting the
Okay.
back line.
I would recommend at least talking about your ultimate. So what you're gonna do with your ultimate. So when you have a blade, if you call out to your Genji, this fight we have Nano Blade,
Oh,
call
I
it
think,
and then go. Oh.
So just quick question. So I think one of the reasons I tunnel vision yesterday was because so Imperial who's actually my friend. So like he's a 3.7k like damage player. So I sometimes get Q with a tank, sometimes Q with a DPS. So it depends. Does that okay? I should not like maybe that was also part of the reason why I tunnel vision a little bit. It's like trying to heal a friend like in a sense like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably say that just because it's your friend doesn't mean that, like, cause you saw in that scenario, by you making tunnel visioning, both of you died.
Cost the team fight, yeah.
Yeah, so by you tunnel visioning, it's causing both of your deaths, so you don't help
Definitely.
anybody by dying.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I was about to say, so when you have Nano, I'd especially
Mhm.
do it with Nano,
Mhm.
is talk about it before the fight happens, and then that way you can kind of coordinate it. So when you were on Genji, you can go,
Mm.
okay, we have Nano Blade this fight, call it and dash up when you want it, and then that way your Genji, they bladed off on their own and they weren't in line of sight of you. But
Yep.
basically, if you call that before the fight, they're more likely to actually dash
Wait,
up and call
yeah,
for it, because that way,
definitely.
if you're not paying attention, then you can look up at them and they're an isolated target in the sky, so you're not accidentally nanoing anyone else. So if you call that, then they're more likely to do that. You can get the Nano Blade off smoother. Last fight we saw, because it wasn't coordinated at all,
Mhm.
our Genji bladed off on his own, and then both of you died.
Mhm.
And then that means that you still Nano, they use Blade. So here, when we're going into this next fight, we're going to be looking at our team and thinking, okay, what is the best target to Nano? Most likely, I'd say our Doom is, and if not the Doom, then we'd Nano the Pharah.
Mhm.
But because Pharah doesn't have Barrage, I'd probably say Doomfist would be the best target.
Mhm. I see.
Clearing the area.
I will keep you healed.
Behind you. Barrier in place.
move it, people. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's another question right here. So I try to like I don't know not rush it, but I have a tendency to rush the sleep dart when I see like Tracer. That's not a good idea, right? I should probably wait for his recall.
Yeah. So if you basically, the Tracer is scared of your recall.
Yeah.
Or sorry, scared of your sleep dart, and
Mhm.
by using it, then she doesn't have to be scared of you anymore.
Yeah.
Instead of using your sleep dart, what you use here is your nade to heal yourself, and that gives you
Mm.
more time to act. Like, is right there, you rushed it so fast that you don't have time to place it at all. You're basically just trying to react to it. But
Yeah.
if you give yourself that extra time to react, then you're more likely going to be able to land the sleep on her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's move it, people. Oh, yeah.
Right there, I should take the high ground, not follow the team
Yep.
inside.
You're powered up. Get in there.
I think right here, I think the Farah in the team calls for the nano. He said nano me, like, yeah.
Just because someone calls for something doesn't mean it's always necessarily the right thing to do. Like, if someone calls, let's say for example, someone calls for you to swap off Moira and go to like let's say Zenyatta. I mean,
Mm.
that's not necessarily going to be the right call, or like a Brigida. Like, that's not the right call just because someone made it. So even if the fire calls, you can say like nanoing Doom, because right here, Doom is lower than Pharah. Doom gets
Yeah.
more value out of it than Pharah can if Pharah doesn't have Barrage.
Mhm.
I probably say you lose this fight. She gets 1 kill. Actually, you're winning. Maybe.
Go. I'll keep
Here, I'd say you're playing a little too close. Your Pharah dies. Here, because you're playing so close, you have limited visibility on the whole fight that like while it's happening. And you also you're basically putting yourself in more danger than is necessary, because anybody walking out can very easily come and kill you. Whereas if you're holding
Play far
back,
back. Yep.
then you
Yep.
can put in the same amount of healing and damage without putting yourself at risk and giving yourself more visibility.
Yeah. If I would to take the high ground in the beginning, that would, like, yeah, it wouldn't be a, so like that would be the best position for sure.
Yeah, so the only thing with the high ground is after you're on point, I'd probably drop off of it. And the reason why is about a third of it is cut off. Like, you don't have line of sight on about a third of it. So if anyone
Yeah.
pushes past, like kind of like right here, because like if you're sending up there, then you can't see anything past like kind of this line that
Yeah.
I'm doing with my crosshair.
Yeah.
So after you have everyone on point, you probably want to drop so you can actually see people over here.
Okay.
This will help.
It's kind of like when you're positioning, you need to think about 3 things. Is where I'm standing safe? Is where I'm standing allowing me to see a lot of enemies? Or sorry, allowing me to see a lot of teammates? And is it cutting off my line of sight? Is it cutting off line of sight from enemies to me? So that's like important if you're playing like if they're playing like snipers or something like that, or hitscan. You want to be playing in positions where they can't shoot at you, but you can see your
Yeah.
team.
Yes.
So right here, you want to be positioning where you can see your team, you can see the whole point, but you're not putting yourself in danger.
Yeah, I think my train of thought back then was because I'm afraid of Tracer like going after me, and then I don't have like Lucio
Yeah.
besides me, and also like the Doomfist. Basically, because I was afraid if I don't, I probably would be like isolated by them and just one hit.
Yeah, if you're sitting in the back, then that means that they have to basically you're diverting pressure. They can get the same effect if they come at you right here, but by standing in the back, you're diverting pressure from the point to yourself, and then your teammates can still help you. But basically,
Yeah.
you're distracting them, so your team can do other things on point and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also it's just unlikely that they actually get the kill off on you, especially since you're standing all the way in the back and you have abilities that you can use.
I am securing
Watching your
Oh,
back.
let's break it.
Damn! Rising uppercut. Videban suyo.
Okay, go on.
Complete. Ready. Ready for battle.
Okay, so like whenever we get into a game, the first thing we need to look at is team composition. So what's our team running and what's their team running?
Yeah.
And then that's gonna change how we play. Team comp dictates how you play. So the main thing with Ana that you want to be looking for is nano. So like, who on my team is the best nano target? Because you don't want to be deciding that in the moment of the fight of who you want to be nanoing. You want to decide that beforehand, preemptively. You go, okay, Doomfist is probably the number one nano target, and if he's dead or he's not in a good spot, we can nano Pharah. And those are going to be the two best nano targets. And then that way we have a target in mind.
So when would be the best time to nano Doom? Is it when he charges in or when he uses out and then landed like is there because I know for like let's say for Genji it's for the blade for Pharah it's for when barrage like most ideally, but then like, when
So-
he
The thing is with Doomfist is if he's a good Doomfist player, he's playing for ability cycles. So do you know what the Doomfist ability cycle is?
the three combos, right? Like
Yeah. It's where you kind of punch in, you uppercut and slam out, or you slam in, uppercut, punch out. You kind of use your abilities to get in and out very fast. And
Yeah.
if you're not alerting him to the fact that he's getting nanoed this fight, then that means that he is gonna punch in, uppercut, and slam out. And I can't tell you how many times because I play Doomfist. I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many times our Ana hasn't kind of alerted me to the fact I'm getting nanoed. I punch in, I get nanoed as soon as I'm in there, but I'm already in the process of getting out, and then I have no
I see.
abilities. So if he's not alerted to that, then he's immediately getting out while he has nano, and then he's not getting value. Instead, what he wants to be doing is staying in the fight and using all of his abilities, and then he gets the best value out of the nano. So before the fight happens, you say, "Doom, I'm gonna nano you here," and then if he's in chat, he can go, "Okay," like you. If he's in chat and he is talking, then you tell him to ask for it. If he's not, then you try to time it for when he's going in. Okay,
Yeah.
the best way is going to be if he asks for it, but if that's not possible, then you just try to time it for when he's actually looks like he's about to go in.
In what range does people start to actively communicate? Because I'm pretty sure in that fight, like Doom wasn't speaking, Ball like the Ball wasn't speaking. I think there are like only three of us were like actually talking, in the VC. So it's just so for example, like if someone is not talking, like how am I supposed to like like get a so like I think this is just how it is, right? Like there are people who just don't talk in the VC for whatever reason, and then
Yeah, I mean, if people not talking isn't a humongous deal because the same amount of people not talking are on the enemy team, and in every game you get, they're on the enemy team and on your team. It's all even out, so it doesn't matter that people don't talk. It's your main goal should be to focus on, okay, am I hitting my abilities? Am I standing in the right spot? Am I shooting the right things?
For sure.
It should just
Yeah.
kind of be on yourself rather than your teammates who aren't talking.
Definitely. Yep. Also, in this tech lineup, we have Sigma and the Ball. Where should the team fight be primarily happening? Like, because we don't have a main tank, right? We don't have like a
Point. Probably.
Okay.
Even
okay.
even if you're running to hit like Arista Sig, you should be holding point. Teams will usually start off right here in front of us. We'll start off
Yeah.
here, and then what's gonna happen is like kind of most times either like maybe 6 out of 10 times they go around to the right, and then you rotate to the right, and then 4 out of 10 times they'll run into you. So those are like kind of the two things that'll happen. But especially if you're running a Ball, you want to be holding point because Ball doesn't do anything in a choke.
Okay. Yep.
And then holding point also gives you access to high grounds, where if you're holding forward, then you don't have access to high grounds.
Barrier in place.
I think I was talking with someone at this point, trying to. Yeah. Oh yeah, they were talking about whether I forgot, but whether they should get a mercy or something. Yeah, and I decided to go upstairs.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
The battle commences.
أنا هاخد بالي منك.
So there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We know our
أنا
ball's in.
هاخد بالي منك.
We see our ball going in.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can see him very clearly in there.
Mm-hmm.
He should be number one focus, not Genji. Genji is secondary focus. We need to be looking for the healing.
Mm-hmm.
If we see balls low and getting out,
Yep.
he's kind of number one thing to be looking at. The Genji is kind of a secondary priority. Is if no one's low, then we shoot at Genji.
Mm-hmm.
Get here. Go. I'll keep you healed.
Nothing. Let's group up here. Obrigado.
Observe the barrel.
I will keep you healed.
So, why this is such a good position is because no one has line of sight on you besides you on your team. Like they can't shoot at you while you can just free shoot at your team, and that's why
Mhm.
like a position like this is gonna be so good.
Mm-hmm. It was especially there's a health pack right
Yep.
right behind me.
So that's a really good spot to be in.
You're going to be okay.
Once kind of the fight actually starts, it's probably better to be up on the high ground because you have better angles to get in nades, sleeps, and healing. Because if Sigma just decides to wall you off, or what do they run? They're not even running Sigma, but yeah, like basically they're just gonna have a lot of shields on you, and you have a better angle to actually shoot people who are over there. But your team here pushes past that.
أنا هاخد بالي منك.
Yeah. So
My ultimate is charged.
If your team's doing that and your team's going in past that, you can say you're not in line of sight. Get back out of LOS.
mm-hmm.
Because you can't see them over there, so they're not gonna get healing, and they probably don't know that. So
Mhm.
alert them to that, and then they can get back faster.
Yeah.
Hello.
Nothing's gonna stop.
Like in that.
It's
Yeah.
just a scratch. You'll be fine.
So in this case, it's already a losing team fight, right? Like I don't see any way back in a sense, right? Like it's already lost. So should I just die or should I just die point or?
Okay, so you don't need ult charge.
Mm.
So here, you either try to frag a kill, or I'd probably say survive until the fight is guaranteed lost, because right now it is
Mhm.
technically possible for it to be won. Like if you duel this Genji and win, then you get a pick, and it's possible. They have one dead. It's very possible to win this.
Yeah.
So if you they're not capping point yet, so there's no reason to not try to go for this duel. Remember to nade yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like basically, there's no reason to not go for it.
Mhm.
Realistically,
Mhm.
because unless they're about to cap point, then there's no reason to not attempt to win it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have to remember as well that like respawn timers are like at 3 seconds now after you die, so there's no punishment for trying to win it.
Yep.
I have your back.
I require healing.
Heal up. Objective lost.
So here we're walking out of spawn. From here, what we should be doing is evaluating: is this even a one fight based on
No.
how many people we can see through wall?
Mhm.
So we see that we watched kill feed. We
Mhm.
see we had 3 people, now we're at 2 people. Now we're at 1 person if we're watching kill feed.
Yep.
I have your back.
Here, instead of walking forwards, you should be positioning on high ground, because we don't get value
Yeah.
out of walking forwards here.
True.
This is a waste of time.
Heal up.
I should already just go back and go up to the high ground
New
behind.
defense
Yeah.
point. Objective B.
Yeah, because
Also,
now...
in
Oh,
yeah.
good.
this location, like, because I can either heal from the left, right, from where you point, like the left of where you're pointing right now, or all the way behind. Is there like a better position to start with?
Are you talking? So you're talking about left, or should you stand left high ground or right high ground?
Exactly. So right, left hand high ground or behind high ground, like
Yeah.
the middle high ground.
I'd probably say the left one, because the reason why is left high ground gives you line of sight to your teammates, which are most likely going to be on point, while they can't very easily shoot you. And then it also gives you a flank angle to get nades and sleeps from on this high ground.
Yeah.
So left high ground, if you're standing right here, you can shoot your team. They can't shoot you easily, and you can get abilities in within 2 seconds of a flank.
Makes sense.
What is that melody?
Yeah,
But
super
because you push forward,
Mhm.
you don't have time to reposition here, and that's a big just because I think you might win this fight. I think you might win this. So, but
I think it's a losing
actually,
fight
oh
for
no,
some
you
reason.
lose
Yeah.
this. All right. Yeah, that if you lost this, that's gonna be a big reason why. To make sure you're using nano, and you're looking for something. You guys died with 3 ults.
Mhm.
That can't be
Yeah.
happening. So, I'd make sure to remember that. If you're about to die and you see, so like right, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. So right here, around this time, we have like 2 seconds while we're alive to see that we're down 2 people, and they're blading us. We use
Mhm.
nano 100% here. If we nano or Lucio, even if we nano or Lucio, then
Mhm.
he survives long enough to get his beat, and then we can beat here
Yeah.
to survive, to let the other 2 people on our team get kills. Because if we beat, then we have Barrage alive. So by
Mhm.
nanoing Lucio or nanoing Pharah gets a nano barrage, or Lucio gets beat for beat barrage. So by actually getting your nano off on something, anything,
Mhm.
then you get so much tremendous value off of that that
Mhm.
there's no reason not to.
True. Yeah.
So now coming out, probably he doesn't really have anything to beat.
Take more than that to keep me out of the fight.
I think right here, Farah calls for nano. I think, and then but like
Alright.
yeah.
So here, when you're going into a fight, like when you're looking for nanos, you need to be paying attention to your nano target. Like you need to be actively looking at them. So
Yeah.
like when you saw the far coming up behind you,
Mhm.
while you're dead, you should be pressing tab. You see, okay, we have nano, we have brush. We look behind, we see the Pharah. That means that we should be walking, maybe like walk.
With her, right?
Yeah, we walk a little bit behind her so that we can see where she's going. We have line of sight on her, but here she boosts up and we lose line of sight of her. And I'm assuming she barrages and doesn't, or sorry, she doesn't barrage, but then she dies before you get there. So because you weren't paying attention to her, she dies. You need to when you're looking for a nano target, you need to be paying attention to them. That's like the same thing with the Genji. Like if you know that you're going into a
Yeah.
fight with a nano blade,
Yeah.
and you're not looking at your Genji, then he's just gonna dash up in the air and blade and then go, Ana, what were you doing?
Yeah, it was a split second. It was such like I basically just turned to my team for like 1 second, try to like get a quick kill,
Yeah,
and then he's already out of sight.
So
Right.
what you could
Yeah.
do differently is let her walk in front of you. Wait like a second. If you let her walk in front of you, then you can see both your team and her.
I need healing.
But instead, you were still in front of her, and then you can't see her when she boosts up.
Yeah.
I have your back.
Again, we don't get much value out of running onto point here. We have
Yeah.
there's 4 people on point, 4 of your teammates on point. We have people to
Yeah.
stall point. We don't get value out of throwing our lives away.
True. So I should stay back and heal
Yep.
from.
Stay back in the choke point, and if you need to, you can duck behind. Like if you get low or people come on you, you just duck behind in the choke. But
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't even know what I was thinking. I think I was blaming myself for like not following Farah, and I think I was and then I was just losing my mind.
I will
Okay, and
keep
then
you
here
healed.
we overextend and two of us got picked. We've held on to Nano for probably like 2 fights here.
Yeah, 2 fights.
Healing in hand. You're powered up. Get in there.
Is yeah.
Is what?
Is nanoing on the ball here, like is that right target, or I should probably wait for Farah to come?
So basically, you have to evaluate a few things.
Mm.
You need to go, how many ticks do we have? We have 2 ticks to do it.
Mm.
Who's coming back to the fight? Like, can I survive long enough? That's another thing. You have nade to heal yourself.
Healing in hand.
Okay. So now we have 2 ticks. I would wait for probably the Farah to come back. Again, she still has Barrage. Nano Barrage is the win condition here. I don't know if you heard that term before, but like that's how we win, is by getting off Nano Barrage.
Yeah.
So if we wait
You're powered
for the
up.
Farah to
Get
come
in
back,
there.
and then we get more value out of this ball, because this ball, I don't think kills anything here. Like, it's very unlikely that they kill anything. That Ryan got juked.
Yeah. I sort of kind of like see it coming, so I like
Yeah, that's
I have
yeah,
yeah.
that's Ryan just telegraphing. A lot of the times, especially lower ranked players will telegraph when they're about to use ultimates and abilities.
Mhm.
So that's an
Yeah.
example of Reinhardt telegraphing when he's about to use his ultimate, because he
Yeah.
walks like kind of straight at you, and
Yeah.
it's kind of very obvious. I don't even know.
Get back.
But
When we move
for
away-
example, that's an example of when you can go for sleeps on him, because you can kind of estimate when. Oh, when was?
Hello.
Ryan was slept, and then he woke up, right? And then,
Oh yeah. You're right.
and then I sort of like see him like shooting towards me and then walking towards me. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
nah, 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 nah,
Healing
nah.
in hand. You're powered up. Get in there.
So when you see that people are telegraphing things,
Yeah.
you can go for sleeps on them. That's just a good example, because if you can time it right, you can like. I used to be an Anamain, so if you time it right, you can get a sleep onto him when he's going for a shatter and cancel it. That's like really advanced stuff, but you
That's
can
huge.
yeah, you can definitely learn it if you're learning like kind of like the psychology of like what do Reinhardts who are about to shatter look like, and if you learn what the Reinhardts who are about to shatter look like, then you can get those sleeps off.
This will help me move with it.
Okay, we don't want to throw sleeps away, because that sleep could have better been used on a Lucio who's right next to us. Shielding
Yeah.
Reinhardt isn't a good sleep target, so we say if we sleep for something that's a little bit more, like there we saw that Reinhardt was shielding, there was nothing else really in line of sight. We want to use sleep for something that's very obviously gonna connect, or where it's gonna get value, which it gets value if you sleep this
Get
Lucio,
back in the fight.
because then your Doom can kill them and you're up one.
Yeah.
Get healed.
I require healing.
So let's rewatch that for
Like-
a second.
Yeah.
What'd
Like
you say?
enough fight. Like I know like 2 people are hitting me behind, but like I just get like the barraging like far to survive a bit longer, so I did not like turn around immediately. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, so there. Basically, if you have sleep up, if you go for the half of a second that it takes to land the sleep on that ball, who's a humongous target, then you negate half of the damage that's coming onto you, as well as can therefore heal the Farah.
Yeah.
So, especially right here, because you see there's a second where you get knocked behind the corner. Ball knocks you behind the corner. You can't heal Farah from here. This is the perfect time to hit the sleep, and then as soon as you turn the corner, then you can heal Farah. So in that time that it takes you to get back, you can sleep the ball and then go on the Farah. Then besides that, when you know that there's people on you, that's where you run on the point, because then you're getting closer to your team. So as soon as the ball comes onto you, your goal should be to get get on the point. Sleep,
I
get
see.
on the point.
I see.
Science will reveal the truth. Get into position.
Hey there.
A touch from afar.
Give me.
Okay, so
Mhm.
right here on these DPS,
Touch from afar.
full health. When they're full, you tap like when people are full or probably like above 75% percent of their health, you
Mhm.
tap heal because tap healing will heal them over time. It will conserve your resources and then it allows you to go damage and therefore get more resource and get ult charge and get damage in. Right
Yep.
here, they don't need to be pocketed. They don't need to be like when this Genji takes damage, then yes, this is where you full heal because he's critical. Then as soon as he gets above that critical, then you can look away because he's getting that heal over time effect. It's kind
Yep.
of like that Moira has that heal over time effect, correct?
Yeah, yes. It will last a few more seconds when you stop. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Ana. Like you don't need to after you shoot someone with the
Mhm.
healing, you don't need to continuously shoot them if they're already full.
Mhm.
You tap heal, look away,
Mhm.
and you can even tap heal the pre-heal like that. If you tap heal the Genji while he's full, and then he takes damage, then he'll get healed from it.
Mhm.
So you can
Mhm.
tap him and then look for damage.
I require assistance. Allow me to repair the damage.
Was he trapped? I'm confused.
I'm confused. Yeah. I don't know like why he wasn't moving.
Maybe because he's in mines. That's the only thing I'm
I
thinking.
require assistance. Allow
But
me to repair the damage.
yeah, I guess because he's in mines.
My condition is
Alright.
improved. Round 2.
Before that, before this fight kind of starts,
Yeah.
we hold on to orb for a little while.
Touch from afar.
Actually maybe not. I forgot about that damage right there.
Is this a good switch though? Like like when we only have one tick left and then I said yeah fuck it I'll just use more. Is that like
I mean, Moira's better than Ana in the first place, so I don't think it's really a bad switch to make,
Yeah.
no matter no matter the situation. Moira just has more versatility at the moment. She can survive longer, heal more, and damage more,
Mhm.
and go through shields, which it's shield meta, so that's a big thing.
I require assistance.
Ana can't shoot through shields, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Allow me to repair
I
the
just
damage.
don't like playing Moira that much. It feels a bit like it's not like brain dead, but like it's just like there's only so much you can do, and it doesn't feel accomplished. Like it just feel like you're just basically left clicking to heal teammates, right clicking to draw resource. That's pretty much it.
What an interest.
What do you think about the next meta? Like when the shields are coming,
Thank you,
is there like more
Um,
places for Ana?
From what I've only played one PTR scrim so far,
Uh-huh.
but I do not think that Ana's being played. So
No.
far it looks like either you're running like Moira or you're running Baptiste.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's same tanks for the most part. Sometimes you're running a Reinhardt. It's just a little bit different in that your DPS are a little bit different now.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone, son.
Ready. Ready for battle.
And then we have one less second. Yeah.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Man, this is going to hurt.
Check this out.
Walk it off.
Okay, so Let's rewatch this for a second. So
I was trying to rotate to the left, and then I got pushed by
when your team isn't going left, there's no reason to go to the left. If you see that your whole team's going on the right, then go with them. You don't get value out of going to the left. You only are opened up to taking more damage from a different angle. You want to stay with your team here. Because then 2 of your teammates die while they're not in line of sight, and you're put at 1 health, and your ball's basically their ball's basically distracting you from doing anything.
Yeah.
You're covered. This will help.
Who was that? What was that nade on?
Which
for?
one?
The nade that you just threw. What was it
Oh,
for?
I was trying to heal the
This will
Doom Doom,
Okay.
and then I didn't. I wasn't aware like the Zarya was beside me, and he
Yeah,
brought.
that's fair.
I see. You're going to live.
I didn't know how this missed. Like it was.
Don't
Yeah.
rush your sleeps. With your sleeps and nades, they should be calculated and timed. Don't rush them because a lot of the times you're missing them on very easy targets to hit them on. Like Ball, humongous target, Ryan, humongous target. Like they're all really big targets, so you can very easily hit sleep on if you're not rushing it. Ball's right next to you, so take the time to aim it. You don't have to flick it or rush it at all. Just take the time. So, coming up with Nano Blade, that should be the number 1 we're looking for.
Yeah.
Number 1 thing we're looking for here.
You're going to be okay.
Nothing's gonna stop me. Oh, turn it up. Let's get you here,
Okay, so your nade is your number 1 best offensive ability. So, unless things are in danger of dying on your team, it should be your nade should be used offensively, basically. Which even this Lucio, I wouldn't say he's even in much danger of dying. A lot of the time, I'd say when they're coming down from this Sigil, that would be a very good place to nade. But a lot of the times, I'm not seeing a lot of offensive nades that you're using. You're using it defensively a lot, and then that means that they have less pressure put on them, and they can just kind of run all over you. So basically, you're getting rid of one of your biggest offensive capabilities. Like that's your carrying capacity. Like you're hitting big nades is how you carry. Like look at people like ML7. Like he doesn't win by healing people or damaging people. He wins by getting big sleeps and big nades. That's how Ana carries.
Exactly.
So if you're not throwing nades to purple people, then you're not gonna be able to get offensive abilities. If the people on their team are purple, that is it's humongous ability because they can't get healed and you can push them.
I think it kind of relates to my positioning too, right? So I don't find too many like good so like I think because of my bad positioning, I don't get like a lot of opportunity to use the big nade and then big nade. Yeah.
You want to be positioning where you have the opportunity to go for those nades. That's what we're talking about, like on going top left high grounds. That's what we're talking about, like on second point, going top left high ground on second point defense. Like that's gonna be angles that you can take that will allow you to get those abilities off better. Here, you guys should be paying attention to kill feed. I think you're already down 2 people. You're down 1. Pay attention to kill feed. You're down 2. You have a minute left. You don't need to use this Nano Blade. They use B already, so you can come into this next fight with a free Nano Blade, but you're going in while down 1. If you want to prevent things like this, just call no ults. Like just go no ults, and then that way your team's.
Because you're right. Because I see Genji decide to play it. So and then I think I gave him nano.
Yeah, so as soon
Right,
as you
yeah.
see that you're down people, call that because you don't want your team to be using ults.
Yep. Also, if you were playing Anna at this point, right, like, at this attack, where would you position yourself? Like, do you go right top, like kill from the window,
Um,
on the right hand side, or
in this scenario, I'd be getting out. But if you're talking about when you're going in aggressively, you stay with your team, and then if the the opportunity presents itself, you go top left. But you go top right if your team goes right side. Otherwise, you go left side.
Mhm.
Basically, you want to be staying with your team because if you go top right here, you don't have angles to heal your team from if they all go left side. So you only go top right if your team goes right side.
Okay.
Kind of, you want to be in the general vicinity of your team. You want to be thinking, okay, can I heal my team from here? You going on this
60
flank?
seconds remaining.
I was trying to nade
Yeah.
them. Because I know Genji was blading.
Mm.
I was like, I can help him kill like 1 or 2.
Yeah, but pay attention to your abilities so that you actually know that you have it. Second thing is your goal is to get nades around shields. So
Yeah.
instead of throwing it directly at a shield and hoping he drops his shield, throw it right here so that's going behind the shield. And then that
Yeah.
hits both Ryan and Kree.
Exactly. Maybe add a
Yep.
wall behind them, right?
Yeah. Or that's like
Yeah.
right to the side at their feet gets more value than throwing it at people. As well, like that's another thing. Like you always want to be going for feet.
Mhm.
So there you didn't get value out of it. 2 is another positioning thing. Our team's time's almost up. Our time basically is up. But I'm gonna say this one last thing. But positioning, make sure that right here you're
Yeah.
positioning next to cover. Like that's just all. You should always be next to cover because
Oh, do you have another appointment like later on? Because I think I bought the 2 hours.
it's 2 separate sessions, so we can
Oh,
yeah,
2
so yeah,
separate.
we can
I see,
schedule
I
the
see,
next
I
one.
see.
That way
For
we
sure.
can a lot of the times that's just better anyways because
Yeah.
then we can actually go over things that new things or repeat things that you struggle with and I'm not
sure.
repeating myself a lot during the script. Like I don't want to have to like say, "Hey, you're jumping too much twice in a row."
Exactly,
Type of deal.
exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. So right here, where you're standing, you're not standing next to cover on the left or right, and this allows Kree to take pot shots at you, and better kills will kill you faster. So you have to take that into account. So you take needless damage and you have to back up because of it. Whereas if you stood closer to cover, then that allows you to basically get off more damage and healing and abilities for longer periods of time. So make sure you're not standing out in the open. You're standing next to cover at all times.
True.
So that pretty much wraps up this session.
Yep.
That's all the time we have today.
Definitely. Yeah, really
So
appreciate. Yeah.
I'll have that recording to you as well as notes to you within 10-15 minutes for the notes and the recording whenever it's done.
Yep.
Besides that, do you want to schedule the session now?